WB.
Now at 6:30, the latest on a lawsuit against the city of Nelsonville. Why a resident is dropping his lawsuit over a proposed change to the city's charter.
Plus, parts of Southern California devastated by wildfires are being evacuated again as strong storms bring rain and flooding.
A lot of the houses, without the vegetation around them that burned off, could slide down the hill very easily.
What officials are saying about this new danger to residents.
And in sports, a recap and preview of all the girls' playoff games in and around the 740. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Haley Hollinger.
And I'm Jack Green. Welcome to Newswatch. You know, it was another cold day, Haley, and we saw some snow coming down a little bit. We did. So Calvin, what's going on?
Yeah, so we have seen a little bit of a cooler and snowier day here in Athens. Just some flurries that have really passed by our area but have really dissipated as the day has continued. Something to be a little bit more concerned about, though, is this flash flood watch that is an advisory over our area into West Virginia. And pretty much what this is saying is if there's excessive rainfall happening, a flood is very potential. 32 degrees is current conditions right now outside with a light snow, but that humidity is at 76, so it is a lot more moisture in the atmosphere. As we head into tonight, we're going to get a little bit nice of a clearing of the clouds with partly cloudy skies, 15 being our low. And as we head into Valentine's Day, mostly sunny skies, 37 being your high, and a low of 28. So if you are going to be heading out, make sure you bundle up. As we head into the 3-day outlook, our weekend is going to have a little bit more of rain. Stay tuned to see my full weather forecast.
Awesome. Thank you, Calvin. A Nelsonville resident is dismissing their lawsuit against the city over a proposed change to the city's charter.
The lawsuit brought forth by former council member Greg Smith claims the ordinance is improper because it tries to accomplish two things: violating the single subject rule. Smith told WOUB he and his lawyer are dismissing the lawsuit to file in a different way, which could be after the vote in the May primary. Smith made it clear he still opposes the ordinance, but says it may be more cost efficient to wait for the primary results. Currently, only 2 people are running for council and 1 for mayor in the Nelsonville primary.
Issue 23 is what makes running for these positions possible. The deadline to file as a nonpartisan candidate for any position is May 5th by 4 p.m. The deadline to file as a partisan candidate was February 5th. It is still not clear if Issue 23 or Council's new ordinance to reform the charter will take precedence if the new ordinance passes. State health officials say a farm worker in Mercer County tested positive for bird flu. This is the first human case of the virus in Ohio. Officials say the man contracted bird flu when he came in contact with dead commercial poultry infected with the virus. Mercer County is one of 2 counties seeing an uptick in poultry cases. And nationally, there have been 68 human cases reported in 11 states. Health officials recommend avoiding unprotected exposure to sick or dead birds. If you do come in contact with a sick or dead bird, officials say wash your hands thoroughly. While cases are on the rise in Ohio, a new study says bird flu is spreading more widely than previously captured in testing. Testing found some vets were exposed to bird flu even though they did not treat animals known to be infected. Details of the study say transmission between cats infected with bird flu and people in the same household. Another study is waiting to be released. These studies were delayed after the Trump administration issued a pause on outside communications from federal health agencies last month. While concerns grow about the spread of bird flu, the U.S. Senate approves President Donald Trump's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in as Secretary of HHS earlier this afternoon. Kennedy faced intense scrutiny during his confirmation hearings over his controversial views on vaccines and public health policy. Despite reservations on both sides of the aisle, Senate confirmed Kennedy largely along party lines. Lawmakers say they will be closely watching what Kennedy does in the position.
I think we're greatly disappointed in any Republican who chooses willfully to vote against the president's exceptionally qualified cabinet nominees and picks to lead his America First administration.
Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky was the only Republican who voted against Kennedy's confirmation. McConnell says in a statement he would not condone the ideas on vaccines, and neither will millions of Americans who credit their survival and quality of life to scientific miracles. McConnell has voted against more of Trump's cabinet nominees than any other Republican. Also opposing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. The new secretary will have a lot to tackle as the country experiences the most intense flu season officials have seen in 15 years. Nationwide, around 13,000 people have died, at least 57 of which have been children.
Ohio is one of the states seeing some of the highest spread of the virus. So far, 4,500 people have been hospitalized for their symptoms. Mandy Gaither brings us the latest on new information about the flu season and the symptoms you need to be aware of.
This flu season continues to worsen. Cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are all trending up, according to CDC data.
This is the most severe season that we've seen in terms of numbers of cases in about 15 years.
Dr. Daniel Kariskis with Brigham and Women's Hospital says symptoms of flu can include high fever, muscle aches, body pain, and headache. But he says if red flags are present, like a persistently high fever, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing, it's time to get emergency help, as it may mean pneumonia is developing.
We don't think that the cases themselves are more severe or that this strain is causing worse flu than in a typical season. It's just so much more frequent.
Kariskis says those at highest risk of getting severely sick are seniors and those with some pre-existing medical conditions like heart disease and lung disease. While flu cases typically peak in February, he says it's still not too late to get protection through vaccination.
Even if you've had flu earlier in the season, you should still get vaccinated because there are two different types of flu that can circulate, and having one type doesn't protect you against the other. So get vaccinated if you haven't been.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Moving to the economy, jobless claims have dropped last week in the U.S. The Department of Labor data says roughly 213,000 initial claims were filed, indicating stability in the labor market. That's down 7,000 from a week earlier. Claims filed who have received 1 week or more of benefits dropped to 1.85 million. That was a decline of 36,000 claims. Ohio was seen a decline as well. This week, the state saw just over 1,100 fewer initial claims and 1,400 fewer continued claims. A federal judge gave the green light yesterday for their deferred resignation program to move forward for tens of thousands of federal workers. But now an additional wave of mass terminations is catching a number of federal workers by surprise. Laura Aguirre reports.
What we have here is a chaotic environment.
It's just complete chaos and, frankly, a whole bunch of cruelty.
That's how many who work with or inside the Department of Education are describing a wave of mass firings underway.
Just a phone call, they can't get into their computers, they haven't received any documentation.
DOE attorney Sharia Smith says several staffers were notified this way or woke up to this email obtained by CNN telling employees that they were being let go over poor performance. Workers at the Small Business Administration also received similar emails, the total number at both agencies unknown. Elon Musk spoke at a Global Leader Summit about potentially much larger scale firings to come.
We do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind.
On Capitol Hill today, Education Secretary nominee Linda McMahon faced DOE closure questions.
Do you agree that since the department was created by Congress, it would need an act of Congress to actually close the Department of Education?
And certainly President Trump understands that we'll be working with Congress, but certainly does require congressional action.
There's a lot of things that we can do together. Don't pull the rug out from under kids.
We are receiving messages from universities whose fundings have been cut. What we have is, again, chaos, and it is going to be the American people that bear the brunt of this.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
President Trump signed several new tariffs that he says could affect almost every country. Trump wants the U.S. to effectively match the tariffs other nations impose on the U.S. This comes after yesterday's CPI report, which shows that inflation rose 3% this year over year last month. Many economists worry potential trade wars could amplify inflation even more. But Trump disagrees with that viewpoint, and his administration adds that he has a broader plan to curb inflation. He also argues the Fed shouldn't cut interest rates, but many analysts don't believe that will happen when the board meets in March. Igloo is recalling more than 1 million coolers because of risk of finger injuries. The company has received a dozen reports of injuries, including fingertip amputations, bone fractures, and lacerations. The recall includes 90 quart flip and toe rolling coolers priced between $80 and $140. The coolers were sold from 2019 through last month. They were sold at Costco, Target, Academy Sports, Dick's Sporting Goods, Amazon, and Igloo's website. You can look up the models being recalled on the Customer Product Safety Commission's website.
Next in sports, I'm live from Alexander High School, where the Spartans are set to take on the Southeastern Panthers in the opening round of tournament play. Find out more about all of tonight's matchups, plus a look back at last night's games, coming up next.
It's been a rainy past couple of days. Will those conditions continue? Stay tuned to see my full weather forecast.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music. Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
God, we ask that you reinvigorate somebody.
You feel it deep down in your soul. It makes you want to shout. It makes you want to sing.
That's beautiful. Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Millions of black people have migrated to the United States from Africa and the Caribbean. These immigrants redefined what it means to be black in America.
The United States becomes a shining beacon. People from all over the world thought, I'm going to replant my roots.
I just love it in America. This is the best country for a black person to be successful.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
When you put voices together, there's an energy in the air.
Keeping black traditions alive, it's so important.
The story we're meant to be told.
This feels so good.
Black people can also have those stories too.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Tournament season is off and running across the state of Ohio as the first round nears a close. Good evening and welcome to sports. I'm Josh Herner. 4 schools were in action across the TVC last night as each team was playing to keep their season alive. Starting off in Portsmouth West, where the Senators defeated the Eastern Eagles 61-24. Braley Pistol led both teams in scoring, dropping 21 points for the Senators. With the win, Portsmouth West moves on to take on the Eastern Warriors in the next round of the tournament. Moving over to Gloucester, where the Tomcats defeated the Sciotaville East Tartans 49-13. Mackenzie Ing led the way with 21 points and 6 steals for the Tomcats. Trimble now moves on to take on Portsmouth Notre Dame, whom they defeated earlier in the year. Head coach Joe Richards understands that the rematch may be even tougher this time around.
We'll start talking about that tomorrow, but I think the confidence of us beating them down there at their place, they had a pretty good home winning streak going. So to go down there in December and beat them, I think we're going to use that as a big confidence boost. On the other end of that, I know they've probably been chomping at the bit to possibly play us again in the postseason.
Heading over to the TVC Ohio, where the Vinton County Vikings lost to the South Point Pointers 51-24. Samaya Blackburn dropped a game-high 17 points for the Pointers, while teammates Lila Hall and Molly Adams each added 10 points. The Vikings finished their season with a 14-9 record. The final contest from last night featured the TVC Ohio champion Athens Bulldogs defeating Chili Coffee 71-38. All of Athens' 5 starters scored at least 10 points, while Quinn Banks led the way with 16 herself. Center Alexis Kupel also added 12 points and 12 rebounds. Even in his last season, head coach Phil Koska has a consistent message in the locker room.
Just a game, and we start 0-0, and I enjoy that part of it. And I keep telling the girls, like at halftime, it's 0-0 again. We reset, and just because you want to keep that drive going throughout the game.
Tonight's contest feature Alexander, Nelsonville York, and Meigs all in action. Starting off right here in Alexander, where the Spartans are taking on the 18th seeded Southeastern Panthers. Despite their seeding, the Panthers have some impressive wins over Peebles and Paint Valley, and only losing to Federal Hawking by 2 points. The Spartans come into this matchup on a 5-game winning streak, including a win over rival Athens. Tip is set for 7 p.m. The Nelsonville York Buckeyes head to Huntington to take on the Ripley Union Blue Jays. The Buckeyes will look to play spoiler in this 6 versus 11 matchup. Nelsonville York will lean on key players such as Maddie Pitcock and Elena Okulich. Tip is set for 7 p.m. Our final game takes us to Minford as the Meigs Marauders take on the SOC2 co-champion Minford Falcons. Minford holds the 3 seed as the winner of this game will take on the winner of Chesapeake and West Union next round. Tip is set for 7 p.m. tonight. To stay up to date with all TVC basketball content, make sure to follow WOUB Hardwood Heroes on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Episode 5 of Hardwood Heroes will air at 11:30 p.m. on the WOUB and the WOUB YouTube channel. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Josh Herner, live in Albany.
Thanks so much, Josh. Next, Southern California continues to recover from devastating wildfires, but a new threat is forcing many to evacuate once again.
I was born for duty, not happiness. You are the mother of France. You're stronger than you know.
The economy is hanging by a thread.
Let me help you.
You have no understanding of politics. You have done enough to the crown.
Reputation is everything. Destroy us.
There's danger everywhere. No one can be trusted. I will get us out of this mess.
Derby 2297.
A little showmanship could be in order.
Will you look at that?
I think it's marvelous.
My name's Eliza Scarlett.
Are we ready?
Well, I've seen you.
Jane Austen.
My sister. Her adventures will be magnificent.
I want him to get the chance to change the map of the world.
Did you know that you can donate property to WOUB Public Media? I'm WOUB Community Engagement and Membership Manager, Sherry Russo. Donating property is a great way to support WOUB, and you may even claim a significant tax deduction. Properties in any location, condition, and format are eligible for donation to WOUB. Back taxes, mortgage balances, and deferred maintenance do not prohibit your ability to donate. Our program covers all loans, liens, commissions, and closing costs, so long as there is equity in the property. If you have a land, residential, or commercial real estate asset that's unused or costing you money, consider giving back to the station you love by donating it to WOUB. And the process is easy. Go to WOUB.org and click the Support tab to learn about property donations, along with many other ways to support WOUB.
A strong storm is soaking Southern California, forcing evacuation orders and warnings across the region.
As Maribel Gonzalez reports, a lot of areas are still dealing with disaster from historic wildfires this year, hoping that preparations like sandbags will be enough to stop this disaster from striking again.
For the second time this year, some in Southern California are evacuating.
A lot of the houses, without the vegetation around them that have burned off, could slide down the hill very easily.
This time due to a powerful atmospheric river-fueled storm with heavy rain and the risk of debris flow over recently scorched earth.
In the Palisades, of course, there are many types of homes that are on severe slopes, and that could be a big problem for them.
The devastation from January's wildfires is severe, with entire neighborhoods reduced to ash.
Every time I come here, it's very difficult to deal with the fact all the house is gone, the neighbor's gone.
Officials working to shore up places at risk, placing sandbags and installing barriers.
These are called sock wattles. They're best management practices for stormwater management, and they keep any fire ash and debris that gets into rain on our property and not onto the roads and into the storm drains.
But LA leaders warn that issues could be widespread.
From mud flows in our hills to our flooded streets, downed trees, and fallen power lines.
And the longevity of the rainfall is increasing the concern.
We expect these heavy rains to last through Friday morning.
Emergency teams are on standby in case of torrential rainfall.
We're not going to necessarily be sure about significant debris flows occurring until potentially right before they occur.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Maribel Gonzalez in Los Angeles.
Joining us again is forecaster Calvin Stebbins. Now, Calvin, what's going on with our weather? I know that we've been seeing some rain, so what's kind of going on back here at home?
Currently here in Athens, it is 32 degrees with some light snow. We are seeing a little bit of a colder day, and that is due to this cold front that really pushed through over the past few days. Now, if we take a little bit more at the United States, we can really see California has 4 low pressure systems, and they're kind of just sitting stationary over that area. And if we get towards the plains, we can see that high pressure system. And then if we look towards the East Coast, we can see 2 low pressure systems, and those were the low pressure systems that gave us those rainstorms and those snow showers over the past few days. If we take a look at our radar, we can see these snow flurries and a little bit of rain start to dissipate, and that's really due to this high pressure system that is coming in from the Central Plains. Southern Ohio into the Ohio River Valley and West Virginia are all under a flash flood watch, and that is due to excessive rainfall that will be occurring in the upcoming days, so it has the potential for flood to occur. Tonight in Athens, it will be 15 degrees with partly cloudy skies as those clouds are going to start moving out due to this high pressure coming in. Mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a high of 37 with a low of 28. So if you have any plans with your significant others on Valentine's Day, make sure to bundle up because it will be a little bit of a cooler night. If we take a little closer look into tomorrow, we can see this high pressure system really start to settle into our area, which will bring clearer skies and a little bit of warmer weather. If we look into tomorrow night, we can see this high pressure system really start to move eastward and another low start to get dragged into our area with a little bit of a warm sector. Heading into Saturday, a little bit of a wintry mix for the morning, but as the day continues, we'll see that low pressure still creep into our area, and we'll get a little bit of a moderate rainstorm possible. Looking into our 7-day, Saturday, 100% chance of rain, 46 will be your high with a low of 39, and on Sunday, much of the same, 90% chance of rain with a high of 44 and a low of 17. Going into Monday, we'll see a little bit of break from rain with a high of 28 and a low of 12 with partly sunny skies, and much of the same on Tuesday with a high of 28 and a low of 14. Heading into Wednesday, 30% chance of snow showers with a high of 30 and a low of 14. I'll send it back to Jack and Haley at the desk.
Thanks, Calvin. Mexico's president says her country may sue Google after it changed its maps to say the Gulf of America. The tech giant made the adjustment following an executive order from President Donald Trump.
Mexico says it has sovereignty over its territorial waters and expects Google to commit to internationally recognized geographical names. Google has said previously that it applies name changes when they've been updated in official government sources.
People who use Google Maps in the U.S. will see the Gulf of America, while people in Mexico and in other parts of the country will see the Gulf of Mexico. Still ahead, this year, the price of love is going up. But how much will Valentine's Day hit your wallet?
There are thousands of discoveries. Wow.
This is huge.
This is really exciting.
They'd all disappeared before anyone could get a good look at them, until now.
If you go inside, then you'll discover the hidden side of Pompeii.
It's not every day you meet the last Nazi art plunder still alive. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Wednesday on WOUB.
It's time to look at our home in a whole new way. Imagine carbon stored in nature on an incredible scale. Looking after it is essential because our future depends on the future of nature.
To what do I owe this pleasure?
It's showtime!
It's what I love doing.
Your love for your little boy shines out.
This story is mine, and no one is going to tell it but me.
We need an undercover operation. Starting to enjoy myself.
That is absolutely perfect.
In this episode, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard uncovered their roots.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa!
Policemen stopped Honcho and another man. The trooper found burglary tools. Oh, here we go.
Your grandfather saved the life of a fellow soldier.
I'm very proud of him.
Your ancestor was captured. It's mind-blowing. Please turn the page.
He was a spy?
I wasn't expecting that.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
If finding the right person to share Valentine's Day with wasn't tough enough, well, then I have some bad news for you. This year, according to LendingTree reports, Americans in relationships plan to spend an average of nearly $200 on the big day, though it may not go as far.
And while price increases varied, some sweet treats jumped by 35%. LendingTree credit analyst Matt Scholes says it's important to shop around, but there's a silver lining.
The price of producing chocolate has gone up more than the price that consumers have been paying for chocolate. So there's a little bit of a good news thing there for consumers that it's not necessarily as bad as it could have been.
And Haley, you won't want to hear about this. If you want to get a little glitz this year, get ready to pay even more. And remember, while inflation may make gift giving more expensive, love, as the saying goes, doesn't cost a thing. Except it does. Astronomers have discovered a celestial object in a distant universe that is the largest of its kind. They're called radio jets. The jets are produced by, I can't say that expels jets of energetic matter. The radio jets have been hard to find until now. They were released not long after the Big Bang.
And this radio jet is at least 12 billion years old and twice the width of our Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, space stories, sometimes you just can't say the words. So that's just me. But, you know, Calvin, I saw a little bit of rain on there, and then I also saw some 20-degree weather. What's going on? What can we see the rest of this week?
So we're just experiencing some cold fronts going through. Like tonight is going to be a low of 15 degrees with partly cloudy skies. We have another high pressure system moving into tomorrow, and with a high of 37 and a low of 28. But then we got another low pressure system coming in with 100% chance of rain with a high of 46 and a low of 39. And that's going to continue into Sunday with a high of 44, a low of 17. And the rest of the week will just start to plummet in temperatures.
Thanks so much, Calvin. I'm not really looking forward to those cold temperatures, and I'm sure you guys aren't either, but thanks so much for watching.
No, not at all. Tell me that it's going to get warm again. Please. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Support for PBS NewsHour is proudly provided by Luke S. Frazier.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Bennett.
And I'm Amna Nawaz. On the NewsHour tonight, European allies criticize the U.S. for